Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Coming up, want to use your iPad as an office?
Oh, of course.
Of course you can.
Yeah. Plus, Apple's trying social again. So remember Ping? Plus, the predictions on the next iPad camera. And what is the future for indie developers?
I don't know. It's not looking so great for some of them. All that and be a Learnist. What's that? The answer may surprise you on iPad Today.
iPad Today is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. Hey, 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 it's iPad Today.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, love to play football. Oh, isn't that weird, Fat Albert?
Yes.
That's who that is.
Hey.
I'm Fat Albert. That's Sarah Lane, ladies
That's
and
right.
gentlemen.
Yes. Hello, Albert. You look nice today.
Oh, thank you. This is a show where we talk all about the iPad, everybody's favorite tablet device.
That's right. Yeah, the iPad. I love it. I was out of town this weekend.
I saw
I've
you
kind of
in
been out
LA.
of town a lot lately, and it's
Basically-
it's to the point where I very comfortably never bring my laptop anymore.
Really?
I've got my iPad. Now, of course, I have cellular data, so.
But how long before
I
you-
don't have to find Wi-Fi networks, but it is perfectly. It's all I need.
Here's my question.
Okay.
Why do you even bring it? Isn't the iPhone enough?
No,
If the iPhone were a
no.
little bigger, would it be enough?
The iPhone is. Yes, there's basically nothing that I can't do on my iPhone that I need my iPad for, but I don't want, for downtime. Okay, so when I was on vacation recently, there'd be a few hours where I'm like, I kind of need to catch up on the news, and I just need to sort of sit and kind of do my thing.
Chill.
I want to chill, and I don't want to do that much reading on my iPhone.
No, it's too small.
Yeah, I want to, my iPad is like, yes, it's my consumption
And you
device.
don't even like the Retina.
I'm ready.
I mean, the Mini with Retina. You like the Air because it's bigger. See, I use the Mini. The
Yeah.
Mini is what, 7 inches?
Yes.
So it's only a little. If they make, because there's the rumor they're going to make an iPhone that's 5.5 inches. I wonder at what point, what size you would just not even bring the iPad. You'd have everything you need in your iPhone.
I don't know if I'll ever get to that point.
You don't mind bringing a little
A little iPad?
iPad along.
A little
It's
iPad?
tiny. Weighs nothing. Less than a pound.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, it's slip it right in your
pack
luggage.
it? Yeah, so what do? Do you put it in your purse? You pack it?
Yeah.
Purse.
Yeah. Or something like a little.
For a guy, it's a different issue.
bag like this.
because I need a bag, because I can't fit that in any,
Right.
thing I carry.
You don't have a merce.
I don't have a man purse. So,
Man purse.
But I have a bag, so I have to put it in my carry-on, basically. So actually, my carry-on's smaller than your purse, so that thing is huge. Is that your purse?
This is not really a purse. It's
a saddlebag. You need a Clydesdale.
It's a work. I don't know. I just bring it to work.
Because you're coming a long way, and you need to bring everything that you're going to need.
There's makeup. There's doodads.
Yeah. No, I understand
some
that.
paycheck stubs. I got everything I need in there.
Now, would you just throw your iPad in there, or would you have a special pouch?
It just slips right in.
It just slips right in.
Slips right in.
And it's pretty robust. You don't have to worry about keys scratching it or anything.
Exactly. But, vacation that's just, I said consumption device, which is kind of funny because I actually don't believe that the iPad is just a consumption device, but I often do use it for, it's like my little security blanket. Like, I've got my iPad, it has plenty of battery life, and I'm just going to do my stuff on it for a while.
I get up in the morning and I have my iPad with my muffin. It's like a newspaper now, right? That's your newspaper, and it's the right size. I don't necessarily want the laptop. I want the iPad. And then the other times I use it when I'm watching TV. Often I'll have the iPad out, play a little Plants vs. Zombies during the boring parts of Game of Thrones.
Right. I troll people on Twitter while I'm watching my bad British reality shows.
Right. And then when I get in bed, maybe I'll have it and do a little light reading or something like that. So it is the kind of thing that it's a perfect accessory for those times when you don't want anything more elaborate, but you need a screen that's big enough to actually play a game or read or something like that. So I guess I would probably bring it with me too.
We do get a lot of questions from people which kind of brings us to our theme of the week that is all about
creation.
Right, creation, productivity.
Yeah.
Basically, how much can a little iPad become your mobile office? Or not even mobile, but just how much can you actually do from your iPad? And we've certainly gone over a lot of the options in the past. It's not going to replace having your, you said that you like to answer your email once a day in a desk environment.
Well, yeah, we were talking before the show, and you said,
Yeah.
why don't you ever answer my email? And it's because I read it once a day, and I'm not one of those every 5-minute guys. And I don't like to do it on an iPad or an iPhone because I want to be able to respond. I don't want to read an email and think, oh, I'll respond to that later, because I never do.
Right.
So I kind of reserve my email time for a time when I have a keyboard. But you do email on your iPad.
Yes.
I get a lot of email from you on your iPhone and iPad.
A ton of it. I like the Mailbox app. That is my email app of choice. Hopefully there aren't any scandalous emails when I pull this up right now. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody sends me anything good.
Would people please send Sarah something good?
Yes, send me something good for once. But yes, Mailboxes, this is fine, by the way, Brian. This is,
So this is probably the chief productivity tool is email.
Yeah.
For most people, right?
Well, sure. I mean, the nice thing about, okay, that's enough, Nate, please.
Is that one person?
Yeah, he's just, I don't know. He doesn't know that we're live right now, but it's just kind of funny the way that live television works. So, no, but what's nice about this is, okay, so when I'm in Mailbox, this looks kind of dark, actually.
And Mailbox is your preferred email tool?
Absolutely, and this is a native iPad app, which is nice. But say, okay, so here's I'm subscribed to some like San Francisco Giants mailing list. I don't really know why. What's nice about it is that on the go, I'm just like, yeah, I just don't even want that. That's fine, whatever. You know, blah, 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 blah. Missing person. That's a neighborhood I don't live in anymore.
When you were gone, we did email, Chad and I did email apps. There is suddenly a huge, and I think you can credit Mailbox with this.
Yeah.
A huge number of mail apps, like 10 or 12, that are specifically to the iPad. And I want to show you one. I don't know if you've seen Molto.
Malta?
Molto.
No.
So, and this is for the way you use email, which sounds like triage, right? You're going through it quickly. You're not really responding to emails. You're just kind of looking at emails. We showed this, and this is the first iPad native app I've seen. Again, look at this. We were talking before the show. I hate it when I'm in the middle of the app and they say, hey, you enjoying us? Please rate us in the App Store. You're not going to get, I'm trying to read my mail here. So you see, Molto is like Pinterest.
Yeah, or Flipboard.
Or Flipboard.
Some.
That's what they're trying to do. And you see there's a scale down here, the newest through July 28th. So I'm going through my email chronologically.
See, I see that email that I sent to you this morning that you didn't read.
Well, but you sent it where is it? Is it here?
There it is. Look.
Terra Lane.
Office apps.
11:03 a.m. Where do you think I was at 11:03 a.m.?
Oh.
I was doing the show. So did you notice how I tapped that and it opens up like that? I think that's kind of cool. Now I can respond to it, but this
I actually like the movement here.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Press and hold will give you a preview, which is kind of cool. You see that we have these buttons here. This is a very iPad-y
I love it.
app, and it's got tagging and stuff.
Molto.
So, yeah, I think that.
Do you think it will be irksome to somebody who's like, no, I need my email arranged in a list. I don't want these fancy.
You know what I find interesting? We're not using Apple's own mail app.
No.
We also mentioned Cannonball, which is more like the traditional list app. Look all the Chinese email I get. You know, just a point, if you study Chinese in college, it doesn't mean you still understand it.
Right.
I just want to make a note. Thank you for all the Chinese email, but
Question for you.
Yeah.
Molto, does it have its own spam filter? Because that's something that Mailbox doesn't have.
No.
So I find it's a little annoying. I'm like, I can easily delete on the go.
But don't you have it attached to Gmail?
Yes.
And doesn't Gmail just get rid of everything?
No.
It doesn't.
The spam
It's got a
filter.
pretty good
the
spam
filter is
filter.
pretty good, but I
Yeah.
mean, I get plenty of it
still get spam.
Yeah.
What it should have is a button. You know, Gmail has the button where you say, this is spam, and it sends it back to Google, and Google now, if it gets enough people saying it's spam, will now eliminate it from everybody's email box. It would be nice if these apps that do connect with Gmail would have a button that says this is spam, so you can at least do that.
Let me ask you this. How often are you using Microsoft's Office for iPad?
I don't use it, but I'm a Pages guy, but I think they've done a nice job. And, you know, they just updated it.
They did.
They've been updating it regularly.
You've got some, like, support. You can send files as PDFs
Send
now.
PDFs, send Word files as PDF. That's nice because if you're not sending it to somebody who uses Microsoft Office, it's very annoying to get a doc or a docx file. I feel like that's making a presumption about what I'm using. You know, oh, doesn't everybody use Word?
No.
So sending a PDF is more generic, right? I mean, everybody can use it.
Although a lot of people don't understand PDFs either. It's just one of those things. Here's my issue.
Yeah.
So Microsoft will set, like, the way that the company, you know, markets Office for iPad is as if that's an app, but it's 3 apps.
It is.
It's Word, it's Excel, and PowerPoint. And they're 3 separate apps.
Yep.
Now they've all been updated. That's great. That's fine and good. But then you've also got OneNote, which is also
another app.
Which is another app.
Also very good.
Right. Although
that was the first of the bunch.
Yeah, but it's like. But
these are all free if you have an Office 365 subscription.
Yeah.
And OneNote's free even if you don't. So I would get OneNote for sure. I mean, that's a nice app to have. They want, what I think Microsoft's doing with OneNote is they want to compete with Evernote. They want to put, and they do now have it on every platform, Android, iOS, Windows, and Macintosh. And that's clearly an attempt to make this be the ubiquitous note-taking app that Evernote is, right? That's separate from their Office strategy, I think.
Well, but I think it's confusing a little bit.
Is it?
In fact, I'm so confused. I'm trying to log into my OneNote account right now and using my Hotmail address.
Right. You have to have a Microsoft account for all of these.
Which is like, makes me feel dirty. And I don't even know.
You can convert that to Outlook.com now. That's not such a dirty name. I agree with you. I never liked Hotmail, the name Hotmail. It sounds like it's sexy mail.
Right.
That mail is hot.
Yeah.
I never liked that.
It just, Hotmail sounds like something, you know, it's like, that's college.
Yeah.
Well, but whatever. So you've got, but I don't know. I guess I find Microsoft's suite of iPad options, app options, I mean, it's great, but it's a little bit like, but okay, so I need to send a document to somebody. Which one do I use?
Right. Well, Word is word processing. Excel is spreadsheets. PowerPoint is slideshows. I mean, I think it's not aimed at somebody like you. You probably don't use Microsoft Office on the desktop. It's really aimed at somebody who uses Microsoft Office at work or at home. They're in the Windows world. For them, it's all logical, and it's great that they have it. For people who use Macintoshes, it's probably smarter to use the apps that come with your iPad, which are Pages, Apple's Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. Those are more Apple-like. They don't make any sense for somebody who uses Windows because there's no Windows version. But if you use a Mac, then I think and they come with the iPad, and I think they're beautiful. They're designed for the iPad. Unfortunately, Apple did a bad thing, and the timing is bad for this. They started from scratch with iWork, which meant they took many of the features out of Pages, Numbers, Keynote less so, but Pages and Numbers and somewhat Keynote. And they're stripped down now. They say, well, we're going to add these over time, but that was bad timing, and Microsoft jumped on that and released Office and said, well, you want a full application, you can use Office 365, you can use our subscription version, you can use our version of Word. And many people complain, well, Word when it first came out, didn't print. You know, how much use is that? But now, and you can see they're updating it almost every few weeks. This has become quite a capable word processor. And I think that the timing is very good for them, because Apple, at the same time as Microsoft's offering this, Apple has stripped their stuff down. And I suppose at some point they'll get better, but it was a little irksome that Pages got bad, that they took a good program and made it worse. That doesn't seem good.
What about Asana? Are you familiar with Asana?
I am not.
So these are, I'm signing in right now.
This is a word processor?
Well, it's more of task management for, you know, an office or a group or family or whatever. They are Facebook alums. And let me just sign in and I will show you this. This is not a new app, but it has been redesigned.
So is it primarily a task manager?
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, so if you look at, here I've got my company here, which I haven't populated yet, but it's sort of like, okay, well, you don't have any tasks that are assigned to me by, you know, my company member, Leo, but I could go ahead and add a new task. Of course, you know, if we're all signed in, then and I share this information with Leo, task name, iPad today, description, find apps, do it. And go ahead and create that. You go ahead and create a task. So this is sort of my overview here.
Yeah.
Here are my projects that are, you know, there's tasks, and obviously there are potentially multiple tasks inside a project. You can go ahead and search for tasks. I don't know. I feel like there are so many of these apps that do a lot of the same things. So
yeah, I mean, I can think of Basecamp, which that's an iPhone app. It does a similar thing, and we've used Podio for a while, and that's a similar product. And I imagine there are many, many more used in enterprises. But you think you could use this as a family, for instance?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
especially since there's an area for your company, whatever your company is, or your family, or your group, or whatever. You've got an area for personal projects, so you can keep track of stuff in here. It's kind of like Reminders, really, which is obviously native for iOS, but inside another app.
Now, of course, we can't forget Google in all of this. And in fact, we use Google. We use the Google Sheets app. Say that carefully. We use the Sheets app, but that is a spin-off of the original Google Drive app. So initially, you would install Drive, and you'd have access to your Google Docs. You'd have your word processor. You'd have your spreadsheet program, Sheets, and you'd have your slideshow program, plus all your Google Drive files. They decided, I'm not sure I agree with this, that they wanted to distinguish Google Drive as a storage, like Dropbox, as a storage place, and so they separated out Sheets and I don't even know what they call the word processor, Word, whatever, and the slideshow program.
Google.
I don't even know what they call it now. But so now when we edit our sheets, we use Sheets for the show.
Yeah.
So that I know what's going to be in the show, and you get the, they call it a rundown, a list of all the things, and the producers see and everything. There's another one Google owns. They bought Quick Office.
Right.
And that's kind of an all-in-one app that does all of the above. And it reads Microsoft Office apps, but it also will read Google Doc apps because it's Google. So I can look at my Google Drive and see the Google, all the files that are stored on my Google Drive. And, you know, in fact, I'll show you. I go into the folder Twitch shows. Here's all the different rundowns. We use this for all of our shows, including iPad today. But what it does now is now it opens Sheets. See, that just pulled me over to Sheets. So
it's a little,
they've made it more complicated, but
well, but I mean, that's the trend, right? Is that, you know, it's like unbundle your suites, and then each app does one thing.
It is the trend.
Yeah.
Quick Office used to do it all.
That was kind of what I was getting with Microsoft, where it's like, some of the naming conventions are a little bit confusing to me. Isn't it funny? If I just type in Goog, G-O-O-G, just in my search bar on my iPad.
Look at all the Goog stuff.
Look at all the applications associated with Google. I've got a lot of Google apps. Some of them you don't even, you know, really realize. I mean, Google Maps I'm using on pretty much a daily basis.
How come you have such a pretty background and I have such a boring background?
What do you mean?
Look at mine. You have, what, colors and...
Oh, gosh, that's so gross.
Did I do something with my accessibility? I think I probably did.
You've probably turned off
transparency. Yours is so pretty.
Yeah, transparency is really nice, you guys.
So pretty.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know. Productivity apps. Man.
You can't live with them. You
can't live without them. I think we have an issue with too many options, which is a good issue to have.
Which to-do list have you settled on? I mean, everybody has to have a to-do list, right?
I actually use Reminders.
You do?
You know why? Because it does integrate well with Siri, and when I'm busy and or driving, I'll just say, you know, either on my iPad or my iPhone, Siri, send me a reminder. Actually, I don't say it that way.
Time to send it?
No. Be quiet. Stop it.
Send it.
I
can't do that right now.
But that's something I do. I say, you know, set this appointment, remind me when I get home, because I've set where...
I guess that's probably... it's a task-based to-do list. I mean...
That's, yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, I guess that's perfect. I should try Reminders. The reason I don't use Reminders, I use something called Any.do, is because it's cross-platform. So, and unfortunately, Any.do is an iPhone app, so I'm gonna have to go into portrait mode here. I've attached Any.do to my Facebook account, so that's kind of nice because it means it will almost instantly connect up for me. And then I have it on Android. I have it. Any.do has a nice desktop.
Yeah.
So you can let's do that. And so you see, we have my to-do list here. I can organize it by, well, let's not show. Well, actually, it's just the dentist phone number. If you want to call my dentist, you can.
Yeah, he would probably love some new business.
He would appreciate it.
Sure.
And it has. Let's tell Sarah she looks lovely today. And it didn't get it. I don't get it.
Any-do's like, no.
No.
I'm not gonna. You don't need to be reminded.
You get the idea. Very simple. It is an iPhone app, but you know what? It works all right. This is the thing, and we've talked about this before, that I like the best, which is the Any.do moment. You can set a time. I do mine at 9 in the morning, and my phone beeps at me, or my iPad beeps at me and says, "Oops, let's start planning your day today." So you can go through your list and say, "I'll do that today. I'll do that later. It's done. I'll delete that." It gives you a chance to go through your list and plan your day. That to me is one of the best things about Any.do. It'll sync with your Google to-do list. It'll sync with your iCloud to-do list. It has more features, but really the basic features are, I think, pretty good. So this is, I don't know, Reminders is, the nice thing about Reminders that this doesn't do is you can geo-fence it. So you can tell Reminders.
Reminders will do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the nice thing about Reminders. Any.do does not do. Which you can say, when I'm at hey, next time I'm at Petaluma Market, remind me to pick up some peanut butter.
Right.
It will actually, your phone will wake up and say, hey, pick up some peanut butter when you go in the door.
Because
and I think that's neat.
You've gone within 100 feet or whatever it is.
Right.
That's kind of the only way that I remember to do anything.
Yeah.
Is by geofencing. Thank you, tech.
Actually, Android does that, but it does it with Google now. I suppose they could add that. I don't know.
Of course, there's Evernote. Productivity. They're the Evernote faithful. You know who you are.
I am a faithful Evernote user.
Why am I not? I have no problem with Evernote. It's just not part of my daily routine.
You have to make it a habit.
You have to make it a habit.
And I don't use it as much as I should. In fact, what I really don't do, and Evernote doesn't encourage you to do, is go through Evernote and delete old stuff. I did that the other day, and there's a lot. I mean, half of my Evernote, maybe more, is stuff I was like screenshots for an article I was writing or something. It's stuff I don't need anymore.
Well, but you could say the same thing about your desktop, right?
It's very much like my desktop.
Every so often, I'm like, my desktop is full of dumb screenshots that I don't need anymore, and then I delete them, and then it's like they were never there at all.
I also feel like using, for instance, Evernote as a to-do list isn't as good as using a purpose-built to-do list app. Any.do is really all about to-do lists. Evernote, you can make a to-do list, but it doesn't, it's just a place where you can store it. So Evernote I use mostly for just storing stuff that I'm going to want later. So if I want to remember a parking spot, Evernote, you take a picture, it goes in Evernote, and I can just get that later. Recipes I put in Evernote. Yes, there are better apps for recipes, but at least I always know where it is. And I use it mostly for serial numbers and things like that I want to remember. Used to use it for passwords, but now that I have Lastpass, I don't use it for that.
You don't need it.
Yeah, but it's good for that kind of thing. So when I download software that I know I bought, but I don't remember the serial number is, I know I can always go to Evernote, search for that app, and I will have it.
I do the same thing, but with Dropbox. I have all of my information on stuff that I forget on a regular basis.
You just write on a piece of paper, tear it off, and put it in Dropbox, or how do you do that?
Well, you make a file.
So you have to make a whole new file.
Well, you upload a file to Dropbox, and because I've got Dropbox on all of my devices, I'll be like, what's my Virgin America Elevate number? And then I just open up that file.
And you created that in a word processor, or how did you create that? A text editor? Or?
Yeah, I think it's a text edit file.
Yeah.
And it's just...
See, I think even the built-in Notes app would be better than that.
Why? Why?
I don't know. Do you have hundreds of little tiny pieces of paper, it seems like to me, in
so
that
Dropbox isn't actually physical paper.
I know that, but it's like the same thing. You open, what do you have? Do you have different folders in Dropbox, what do you, there's just one big folder with a lot of little...
If you must know,
because
I'm going to tell you, because I'm a little bit strange. I name them weird things because I feel like if anyone got into my Dropbox, these would be the last files you'd open, even though they're full of good information.
That'll work. So, you name it kitty cat pictures. Yeah. And nobody would ever look at that.
Cat photos.
Cat photos.
We've seen enough, but it's really all of my 401k accounts.
This is your system.
Yeah. It doesn't work very well, but it's mine.
No, you're not alone. I think probably this is much more common than using something like Lastpass. So anything I want to store securely, I make a secure note in Lastpass. Nobody can get that without my master password, period.
Right.
I think that would probably be better than kitty cat photo folder that nobody will look into.
Probably. Well, I have a lot to learn.
Evernote will let you encrypt any individual note. So you can say, encrypt this note. But it's not, I don't think it's as secure as Lastpass. So I moved things like social security numbers, credit card numbers, passwords into LastPass, where I know it's secure. Keep Evernote for things like serial numbers. That's not as secure. Dropbox, I don't keep anything that I really want to keep private in Dropbox. I feel like that's not a good idea.
Well,
try Evernote. Okay. Or better yet, don't you use LastPass?
No.
So we made an offer to every employee of Twit to give them a free LastPass account. Did you get that offer?
Where was I? Nobody offered that to me.
I wanted to encourage everybody here to use it.
I accept.
Well, okay. Deal.
Right, because
talk to Russell.
It's totally worth the money, but it's not free.
It's $1. Oh, yeah, there is a free version, and then if you want the mobile version, it's $1 a month.
Oh.
But what we did is
free.
we bought seats for everybody in the brick house because we use it for enterprise, and so you could tie the enterprise account to. So I'll give you an example. We have an iPad Today email address. I never know that password. You've shared that probably with Chad and a few other people, but I never know that password.
Right. Yeah.
If you put it in LastPass,
to keep you out of things like that.
If you put it in LastPass Enterprise, you could have a group that says, here's people who need to know that password to that account. And then you would also get, as a bonus, your very own free LastPass account, which I would gladly pay for.
Wonderful. I'm in.
Did we not send an email out? Or maybe that's it. We just offered it to everybody, but we didn't tell them.
Yeah.
That saves money that way. You all got LastPass
The offer's
accounts.
Open.
Chad, did I tell you that?
Chad doesn't work on the show anymore. That's Brian.
Wait, you told Brian, and yeah, I use it all the time.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, how about that?
You don't read my emails. No, I'm just teasing you. Anyway, so yeah, we'll set you up with that. Because it's everybody should use LastPass. It's really great.
Well, I mean, who wants to remember passwords?
Right.
I'm no good at that either.
And if you're storing things like Social Security numbers, I don't think your Elevate number is super secret.
No, but it's just a number I have to look up constantly.
It's good. I keep frequent flyer numbers and
that sort of thing. Yeah, just general logins for what have you. We mentioned a bunch of apps just now, a ton, and they're all somewhat based on productivity in some sense. We will put all of those links in the show notes for anybody who's like, wait, you talked about Asana, and how do I get there? And we'll have all those links for you in our show notes that are at twit.tv/IPT.
Add LastPass to your enterprise list of
I'm going
apps,
to right now.
Great, really thing to have.
Of course, twit.tv/IPT is not only a place where all of our links are. Thank you, Brian. That's very good scrolling. But a way for you to catch up on what Leo and I did to horribly embarrass ourselves last week and the week before and
every week after that.
And every week.
Forevermore.
Because what is life if not to laugh at oneself?
Yes, I agree.
That's what Shakespeare said.
Really?
Yeah.
What is life, Yorick, if not to laugh at oneself?
It's his most famous line from Othello.
Who can forget? Who can forget that?
If you do want to send us an email, iPadtoday@twit.tv is our email address. We love all of your email and do our best to read and respond to as many as we can. So thank you to all.
I thought of another reason.
What? Oh.
To use a password vault like LastPass.
What?
When you die. And you're not having to worry about this, but as I get older, I start to think more about it. Well, anybody could, any time, right?
Right. I could die like in a second.
It would be probably good for your heirs and assigns to be able to access your email account, to shut it down, to your Facebook account, things like that. So keeping your passwords in a password vault and then giving a trusted person, whether it's your significant other or your lawyer or somebody, access to that account in case of your death, I think would be a good idea. But for me, it's bank accounts, right? Because you don't want to pass away and then nobody can get at the money in your bank account. It just sit there. The state of California gets it in 5 years.
Yeah, right? You're onto something.
Yeah. So I put all of that stuff in a LastPass. But by the way, somebody's saying, "Oh, this is an ad for LastPass." Any password vault will work. 1Password is very good on iOS.
Well, any app that we enjoy and talk about on the show, you could say is a commercial.
Yeah.
But it isn't.
But it isn't. This is. Get ready.
Okay.
Here comes the commercial.
Everybody, feet on the floor. I'm strapped in and I'm ready.
Yeah,
this is our sponsor.
Actually, we love, you know what? We only do commercials for people we love, and Gazelle is one of those companies.
Absolutely.
Where if you have a drawer full, as we all do, as any geek does, of old gadgets, it's as if you had a drawer full of cash just sitting there and you never looked at it, you never used it. There could be literally hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars in that drawer with the old phones, the old tablets, the old computers. And Gazelle is the place to convert those old gadgets into cash, whether it's an old iPhone or iPad, or maybe you fell off the wagon and you bought a Surface, and now you wish you hadn't, and you want to buy an iPad.
Well,
they'll buy your old Microsoft Surface or Samsung tablets. They'll buy phones from a variety of manufacturers.
Did they change their website?
They always are updating it.
Yeah, it looks
I like it.
Looks a little spiffier.
They're always doing things with Gazelle. It is a great place to get cash, and let me tell you how the experience works. When you go there, you're getting a quote. Okay, so there's a Surface Pro, and it's in good condition. Oh, flawless. Let's say good. Maybe you use it a little bit. What is it worth? Do you have the power supply? Sure. Do I have a cover? Yeah. What am I going to get? $476. Now, here's how this works. That is locked in for 30 days. You do not have to take advantage of that offer right now. You can decide, I'm going to wait to see if the new iPad comes out in October. Or maybe I want to get the new device, put all my stuff on it, before I send the old device in. You got 30 days. All of these are locked in, so you might as well get quotes right now. One of the reasons to do it now, not later, is everything goes down in value. All this electronics is going down in value by a little bit every day. So go to Gazelle.com, get the 30-day quote. Once you decide, here it is, it's time to get that cash, you in effect check out. They'll send you a box with a prepaid mailer, so they know how much it's going to weigh, so they pay for the postage. Anything worth more than $1, they will pay. You send it to them. Their experts will look at it. If they say, hey, you know what, Leo left the data on here, they will wipe it for you. They're really good about that. I mean, I recommend you wipe it before you send it in, but sometimes if it's broke, they even buy broken iPads and iPhones. Maybe you can't wipe the data. They'll do that for you. Then they'll turn around and they'll either send you a check, your choice, PayPal credit if you want it right away. My suggestion, if you buy stuff on Amazon, get the Amazon gift card because they bump that up another 5%. So that's a really good way to get even more value for these old gadgets. Free shipping, fast processing. Gazelle has paid more than $100 million out now to 700,000 customers. $100 million now. It's just incredible. And the customer satisfaction is through the roof, more than 90%. I want you to try Gazelle right now. Gazelle.com. At least get the quote. You can decide whether you want to sell it later, but then you'll know how much that stuff's worth. It's more than you think. Gazelle.com.
So you mentioned at the beginning of the show that Apple was trying to, try social again. The details of this is a man named Musa Tariq, who used to be the social media chief for both Burberry and Nike.
Burberry is important and Nike's important. Burberry, of course, their CEO, Angela Ahrendts, is now at Apple.
That's correct. I would assume that this is somebody that she recruited because she knows that he knows what he's doing. Yeah, apparently he was social media marketing manager for partnerships and athletes with Nike products.
And of course, as we know, Tim Cook's on the Nike board. There's a tight relationship with Nike and Apple.
Exactly. He confirmed his role on his Twitter account.
What's he doing?
He's the digital marketing director at Apple. Now, what does this mean? It doesn't mean anything necessarily right now, but Apple has notoriously never really figured out how to crack anything social.
Ping is the one everybody thinks of.
But, that's so long ago. It's I think...
2 years?
I never used it.
Nobody used it. That was attached to your iTunes, and it would... I don't know. It was like social. It
didn't make sense, so nobody used it.
Well, and it was its own network. When they first announced it, they said it's going to tie into Facebook. Then Facebook said, no, it's not. And that was what really, I think, killed it. If it didn't attach to any other social network, forget it. What good is it?
Exactly.
I already have a social network. I want it to integrate. When you use Rdio, it integrates with Facebook.
Correct. Yep.
Or Spotify.
I tell it to. Yeah. Whatever. I think. Yeah. It's.
You think Ping 2.0?
I don't think, the whole thing with Ping was it was bundled inside of iTunes, and iTunes already has all sorts of problems.
iTunes is, I used it the other day.
Okay.
OMG, I'm using the newest iTunes.
Right.
They come with a public beta of Yosemite.
Okay.
Can it get worse? Yes.
Really?
Yes.
It's worse than ever?
Worse than ever. I'm trying to drag songs to a playlist. They won't drag. Sometimes they do, sometimes they won't.
Ugh.
Remember they took away the column view on the left-hand side, but you could turn it back on. Now you can't. It just appears randomly depending on what you're doing.
I think maybe this is a public beta issue and not an iTunes issue because it sounds like it's bad behavior.
I think this is what they want to foist on us.
Oh, really? Hey, if you try to make a playlist, sometimes it'll work. I don't think that that's a feature. I'm just going to go ahead and give Apple the benefit of the doubt on that one.
This is iTunes 12. It is pre-release. I'm sure there's bugs they'll fix, but I feel like they need to take iTunes down to the metal. Tear the whole thing down and start over, because it's long in the tooth and it's funky.
I've been saying for years iTunes no longer makes sense.
Yeah.
iTunes should be a music-based. There's too many things inside iTunes
It's
now.
just bad.
iTunes is where I buy an episode of a TV show.
Right.
Why? Why can't we make more sense?
So please, Apple, if you are going to go more social, don't put that in iTunes. That killed Ping.
Right.
Let's not do that again.
Also, I think that it's a really interesting time because we're going to see some sort of a wearable from Apple. You know, hopefully this fall, hopefully soon. You know, those are the rumors, but it's going to happen, and that I think is a huge opportunity for social because it's monitoring your activity, and a company like Nike is a great example of they've been doing a lot of experimentation. How much is that a personal thing? Oh, I took 500 steps today, or hopefully you took more than that, but how much do you want to share that? How much do you want to compete with your friends? All of that can be potentially really interesting for Apple, because Apple is just not, it's all
what we want to do.
Yeah, all of the stuff that I do that's social on my iPhone
goes through Twitter,
or my iPad
or Facebook,
is a third-party
or
experience.
Instagram. It's not an Apple experience, and this is an opportunity for Apple.
Right.
I'm not, this guy could be hired to be the guy who watches Twitter for bad things about Apple and responds. I mean, we don't know. He could be a marketing guy.
That's true.
We don't know what Apple's goals are in social. But I feel like there is an opportunity there that they're maybe missing.
Mm-hmm. There was an article that our friend...
Beats.
What?
Maybe Beats will be the social hub.
Well, there is already a social component for Beats Music.
Maybe Beats Music can be expanded.
Yeah. That acquisition is done now.
It's done?
Yeah.
Ian Rogers, who
Congratulations, Apple, you have Beats.
running the Beats Music streaming, is now moved over to Apple and is running iTunes Radio.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's some expertise on the Beats side that they could bring in.
I hope so. You know, I mean, let's keep it spicy, Apple. I don't know where that came from. Spice it up, Burberry alums. Hey, so our friend Marco Arment, who of course used to work at Tumblr, made Instapaper, and is kind of, I mean, would you call him sort of the voice of the developer in many ways for the Apple community?
Absolutely. He's writing a podcast app.
I know, and he's been doing it for a while, and I keep kind of saying to him, for obvious reasons, I'm really interested in how that turns out.
What can we do to help, Marco? We're here for you.
He wrote a really, did you read his note, more of an essay really, called App Rot?
No. At marco.org, his blog.
Yeah. This was a very well-written, and not so much doom and gloom, but a well-written sort of like, hey, I'm a developer, and here are some things that I'm noticing about kind of App Store stagnation, that he doesn't feel like there are a lot of cool and interesting apps that are continuously populating the App Store for a variety of reasons. Number one, the App Store is curated, and it's if you're not in the top 5 of any new and interesting app or productivity app or music app or whatever,
you don't exist.
Yeah, pretty much. As an independent developer, of which there are many people, he quotes other app developers and designers, quite a few of them actually. They're saying, it's just really hard to be an indie developer. Little indie production houses are shutting down because how do you make money? I mean, you can have like a Fluke Flappy Bird type of thing, but that's just luck. Right.
This happens anytime a platform matures, though. When a platform is new, they need all the little guys to create cool and interesting stuff, so they really reach out to them. But as soon as it becomes lucrative, and there's no question iOS apps are lucrative, the Electronic Arts of the world move in, and they dominate because they're big. Mm-hmm. And maybe they even have relationships with Apple. You always have to wonder, you see these promoted apps, they're often from the big companies.
Well, and oftentimes it's because the company agreed to not bring the app to Google Play right away.
Yeah.
So there's iOS exclusivity for a certain amount of time. Marco does say iOS 8 is going to solve some of these problems. He mentions extensions that he says extensions open up vast new markets.
Fabulous.
Give our apps a lot more functionality for very little effort. That's a good thing. CloudKit removes the need for many apps to run web services. Adaptive layout will remove the need for most apps to code different UIs for, let's say, iPad and iPhone versions, and so on. So it's a great read, and again, we'll put that in the show notes.
And he's right. I agree with him.
Right, but I do sort of wonder about this because I know people who, I know a lot of people who are sort of like, oh, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, my company makes apps.
Right.
And I say, oh, cool. Like which ones? And sometimes I've heard of them, and sometimes I haven't.
Right.
And it's like, how many little app making houses can there actually be?
How many apps are there now?
So many.
It's millions, right?
Yes.
And I think the other thing he's complaining about is that they're not updated. I mean, after a while, if you're a company that made an app and nobody's buying it, you may not take it off the App Store, but you're not going to fix it.
Exactly.
So I would guess of the millions of apps on the App Store, many of them are abandonware.
Sure. I think so. And it's always, when you open up an app that you haven't opened in a while, and like maybe you want to use the keyboard and you're like, ooh, this isn't even optimized for iOS 7. It shows. And it's like, I don't know, are the lights on at the app developer?
Well, but this is true on Android. It's true on every platform.
Yeah.
Once it's a mature platform, this is what happens, you know?
Right. We got an email from Rich in Westbury, New York. Rich, you email us all the time, so hello and thank you. He says, this is in response to last week we were talking about what do we need with the new generation of the iPad? Do we need a fancy camera? Does it need to be thinner yet? What's the deal?
Yeah.
Rich says,
better camera.
Rich says, I think the iPad should be optimized for video, for playing games, reading books, video chat, and browsing the web, and that the iPhone should be optimized for pictures and music.
Interesting.
He says they shouldn't basically just be smaller and bigger versions of all of the same stuff. He says it would make sense that the ways to improve the iPad are better speakers. He says, I think that's why they bought Beats. And a better front-facing camera for FaceTime and Skype. I don't think a better rear-facing camera is the answer. I always thought rear-facing camera wasn't meant for taking pictures, but other things you might need a camera for, like a picture of a check, if your bank supports that. Something,
using it as a scanner.
Which I've definitely used. He says, on the last show, you said something like a 41 megapixel pure view camera, which is what Nokia has in their phones, would be good because of all the photo editing apps that are great to use on the iPad. Personally, says Rich, I'd rather see a great camera on the iPhone and have photos automatically backed up through iCloud and easily downloaded to use on the iPad. And then he says, last year Apple patented a triple lens camera. Do you think a 24 megapixel camera is possible on, let's say, the next version of the iPhone?
Well, remember
that's
that
a little much.
Nokia has a 41 megapixel camera on its 1020.
Yeah,
I mean,
the pure view.
Totally doable. It's not a question of can you do it, although they had to put a bulge on the phone, a pretty unsightly bulge on the phone to do it. I don't think that's the issue. I don't know if more megapixels makes it better anyway. You know, the standard seems to be right now about 13 megapixels on most smartphones and devices, and I think that's fine. That's plenty. So where you could improve it is in low light capability, aperture, lower apertures, so you can get more light in. You know, better software on the back end, and Apple's very good at that, and they could get better, you know, still. So I think 13 megapixels is fine. But by the way, we don't have that yet on the iPad.
No.
So I would put a 13 megapixel camera on the iPad. It's not a more expensive part at this point.
I think Rich does have a point, though. I'm not I actually really never use FaceTime, but I know some people who definitely do. And I think using it as, again, you know, bringing it back to using your iPad as an office device, kind of that virtual, we've got a nice camera, we have got tools so that I can conference Leo in, and I've got the iPad and I'm holding it and we're getting stuff done. All of that does make sense. It's not just about, taking a photo at a concert and being the dork who's holding an iPad in the air.
And by the way, I probably should have mentioned this in our productivity section, but Scan is the QR code reader and scanner that I use. Is a really great app, not just for scanning QR codes, but for scanning documents. There are a number of really good apps. Do you use anything for scanning apps on your iPad?
You mean for scanning a document?
I mean documents, not apps, yeah.
I rarely need to scan anything, but
there
yeah.
There are a number of good ones. Tiny Scan.
Scanner Pro is one that I use. In fact, it works really well. It's funny because you say, well, what do I need to scan really? I have a Bank of America app. Bank of America will let me scan a check, which is like, I mean, talk about living in the future. Isn't that not amazing?
And this would be a maybe better use with Evernote, but the idea that you have paper documents, why? We don't want those. Let's get rid of them, get on the iPad. So an app that can use the camera, it's not really scanning. That's kind of a misnomer.
It's a photo.
But it works the same way a scanner does by getting an image into the iPad, maybe even doing some OCR on it, or at least some classification, putting it into Evernote. Now you throw out the paper document, shred it.
Right.
And you've got it. And I think that is a very good use of that. And he's right. That would be a great use for a better camera. And a good scan app is very much a useful thing to have.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, really, what is it really? It's going to take a photo and then allow you to assign whatever file extension you want.
For years, the one I use, and I don't know if it's still the best, is JotNot.
JotNot?
JotNot.
Oh, I don't even think we've talked about this.
Yeah, and you can do multi-page documents, turns it into PDFs. This is the one that I use. I don't know how much it is because I bought it a long time ago. But this is the original kind of, it was on the iPhone, it's now on the iPad. Take pictures of business cards. Why have a business card?
Hate them.
Take a picture of it, scan it in.
Don't want it. Don't
add
give
it to your contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so JotNot will do that and a lot of other things.
I have, the take a photo trick works in so many situations. Like I don't know, I move apartments too much. You know, so there's like...
You're always moving.
And like I'll get a new car and then there's a new license plate and it's like, I have photos for all sorts of things like that.
Yeah, that's what Evernote's for.
Yeah, well...
There's a use case.
Exactly. What's my license plate? Let's
and
look it
Evernote
up.
even has a camera in the app, you know. So you launch Evernote and then you press the button, you can take the camera and it's already in Evernote.
You know, Leo,
Sarah?
This is all fine and
Look
good
at that.
everything.
You are a hipster. Were you in Swingers?
Yes. Yes. Which one was I?
I was in Jackass too.
What is that? Why are you...
Why?
Ironman World Championship?
That's me.
Yeah? Are you an Ironman? Is the Ironman the one where you do the swimming and the running and the biking?
Swimming, running. I did a mile of each.
Really?
That is non-trivial.
Oh, boy. Well, yeah, good work.
Took me 3 hours.
Are we kidding or I don't know?
Oh, yeah, we're kidding.
Okay. I'm like, I don't think he did that, actually. This is the part of the show where Leo and I don hats. We call them app caps, and we talk about 2 apps, 1 app each that we like and think that you will like as well. I am super excited for mine this week. Not that I'm not always, but I am particularly excited about an app called Learnist.
Oh, yeah, I love this app.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, in fact, I think it was, I picked it on a previous show.
Not on this show.
You don't remember it? I certainly mentioned it. I love this app, and the funny thing is, it's just such a great idea, and I haven't used it since. So tell us about Learnist.
Okay, so the idea is that you've got, and there are other apps that do this, but you have experts in a variety of fields that can tell you kind of how to, how to do stuff that they're really good at. This is Gus Van Sant. He's a very
He's one
famous
of the great film directors. Love
correct.
Gus. Is he teaching a course on Learnist?
He's teaching a course on creativity in filmmaking and the arts.
Awesome.
Now, this is a premium lesson. Where am I? Okay, here we go. There was an in-app purchase of, I believe it was 99 cents.
Worth it. For Gus Van Sant, a buck?
Yeah, exactly.
Shiminy.
And so it just gives you a little bit of an idea of how the app is set up. So, all right, I'm kind of in this course now. I don't know why my iPad looks so dark. Sorry about that.
It looks good.
You think so?
Yeah, it's peaceful.
All right, well, that's fine. It's weird. Oh, I think our camera is auto irising.
It's darking.
Yeah, it's fine. So you can see it's almost the way that like something like the New Yorker app is set up, where you have a sense of, oh, this is how many pages I'm going to read in this little area here. So it's kind of just an introduction. He talks a little bit about lateral thinking. This is kind of cool because you're like, okay, lateral thinking, that sounds good, that sounds fine. Pull to read more. Then it'll dump you into the Wikipedia article on the concept of lateral thinking.
Okay.
You don't like that?
Well, okay.
So I like this because this is sort of like my own reason, because I'm an expert researcher, right?
Yeah.
So I like to go down rabbit holes. So I feel like the more that this is all sort of set up for me while I'm still in the app, the better.
And there's still plenty of content in the app. It's just this is for more reading.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right.
So, you know, we start to get into some specific... He's a filmmaker, right? So these are...
Well, I'd love to read this.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Yeah. He talks about, the sort of behind the scenes of, obviously, Oscar-winning films and you know, like even sort of like how to get more shots than you thought possible.
This is phenomenal.
I know. I was really interested in it. Now, this is just one little course, right? There are a ton of courses, and they're not all about filmmaking. I mean, I'm probably not going to make a film anytime soon, but I might want to know all the different ways to preserve berries. That was curated by somebody named Sarah Eric Well. Okay, let's just go ahead and get into it. How to make freezer jam, how to make traditional preserves, all about canning. I don't know anything about canning. This is great. How to freeze berries. Isn't it easy? Well, no, you're actually, you know, there's some techniques involved. Again, you've got that Wikipedia component. And you did notice that if for whatever reason I'm like, this is really interesting, but I'm not ready right now, you can go and go ahead and add it to the reading list and come back to it later. It's basically just like
bookmarking. They have some celebrities. They've got Ariana Huffington teaching you how to thrive.
Speed reading. I was just talking about speed reading over the weekend, and I don't feel like I've really grasped how to speed read and enjoy it.
Olivia Wilde, the women I've learned the most from.
Olivia Wilde, the actress.
The actress.
Tron and
Tim Ferriss,
others.
How to Learn Anything.
Well, he would probably be a good teacher.
That's great. They're all 99 cents.
He seems to know everything.
This is
99 cents, yeah.
They got a good team.
Yeah, you've got what's new, you've got essentials here, you've got stuff that's recommended.
I think this is a pivot.
You've got categories. I mean, this is like, doesn't this seem more fun than the App Store itself?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like the App Store, really.
So when we talked about Learnist, and it must have been a year ago, it was really about a place for you to put these lessons up, and I think probably nobody paid attention to it.
Oh.
And so now
maybe that's
still
why
have
I don't
those.
remember us talking about it.
Yeah, they still have those, but now they've got some well-known people doing stuff, and they do have a lot of content. Let's just let me just go look at technology, see what kind of things you can learn there. Do you remember the Apple II? How important is the media in fighting oppression? Landmarks in robotic technology. This is cool. Climate and energy issues to watch in 2014. And most of this stuff is just created by its users, right? The Drupal website creation adventure. And so many of these are free because they're created by users.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, I love it. I thought it was great fun. I don't ever remember you talking about Learnist, but
maybe I dreamed it.
Well, it's possible.
Could be.
It's possible.
Could be.
Anyway, that's Learnist. The app is free. Again, some of the lessons are what's considered premium. Some of them aren't. But
most of them aren't, which is the good news.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's really, it's just I like learning from people who are obviously very good at what they do and have skills that I do not. So I can be a well-rounded person.
11 celebrities, famous last words. And it's like almost like a game. Who said one last drink, please?
Let me guess.
Let's pull up. Ready?
Frank Sinatra.
Jack Daniel? Oh. Really? That was Jack Daniel's last...
Is he a celebrity?
Yeah, they're not really.
I didn't even really think of him as a man.
How about this
He's
guy?
He's more a bottle.
That looks like Karl Marx to me, but anyway, last words are for fools who haven't said enough. And the answer is yes, Karl Marx. And you know why? Because Das Kapital is like 8 million words, so he probably had everything. It was the food. That's Richard Harris's last words.
How do we know that these are his last words?
Oh, there's people standing there.
Oh.
You know, when Thomas Edison died, Henry Ford's son was standing by his side.
Okay.
With a bottle. And when the famous inventor passed and went, he caught that breath in a bottle, put a cork in it, and you can see it now in the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan.
That's very interesting.
Not just his last words, his last breath.
His last breath to be contained in glass.
What would your last words be, you think? It was the fish.
No.
No.
I don't know. It's a weird thing to think about.
All right. Are you done?
Yes.
Is
totally
it my
done.
turn?
Yes.
Because now I'm going to take you for a ride
Take me for a joyride.
Crazy Taxi. This was a great arcade game. One of my favorite arcade games. It was one of those games where you got inside it and you had driving, steering wheel, and all of that stuff. And in fact, there have been Crazy Taxi apps for most of the mobile platforms, including the iPad. This is the new one, updated Crazy Taxi City Rush. But if you liked Crazy Taxi, what you liked about it was the great music, the characters, and the ability to really wreak havoc in Bay City. So let's just show you a little bit of the downtown area. Are you ready here? And go do some driving? I've unlocked downtown. So, I'm unfortunately going to have to go to the showroom and get myself a taxi. Now, this is a free app, but of course, in-app purchases, like every other game, are polluting it. Just so you know, I don't want to buy a $5 car. This is perfectly good for me. These are some of the in-app purchases. But you know what? It's still a fun game, even if you don't pay for anything. I'm not going to give them any cash. That's my new thing, right? No more cash. All right. Let's pick up Gina's most valued customers in a series of increasingly... I want to drive. Let's drive. Shall we drive?
Yeah,
So the controls are good. You know, in the past, games like this have had these controls like this. They've made it a lot easier. You tap left to steer left, tap right to steer right. You tap twice to brake. So he's getting in my cab. Yeehaw! It's okay to hit pedestrians. In fact...
Oh, so I see.
It's good.
So this is GTA, but
No, but it's more rock and roll and more kind of crazy fun.
You're just a fun-loving taxi driver who doesn't
I hit a cop
drive
car.
that well.
That's 20 cents.
Well, you know, you're on the wrong side of the road.
Oh,
and
that's
not,
okay.
That's not straight legal.
And let's drop them off. Tap rapidly to brake. Yeah. I got 7 more seconds. If you like Crazy Taxi, and who doesn't? They've done, I think, a very nice job of updating this. And I love it that it's free. I'm not crazy about in-app purchases. But as you can see, it's quite playable even if you haven't paid money. There are ramps in this. There are all sorts of things you can do to... And I think they've done a good job of making the controls a lot easier. I have trouble with these games a lot because I find the controls so hard to use.
Also, it's like, what's your...
Are you picking up passengers and dropping them off?
Okay.
You're a taxi. And the key is you make money by doing it fast.
Okay. All right. So there's technique involved.
Well,
Look,
sort of.
Your guy is happy.
Yeah.
He's like, see,
He's
I'm going to go
happy.
into the woods now.
Yeah.
Thank you for the ride.
I did awesome.
Yeah.
I did awesome, and look at all the money I made in my bonuses. So that's fun. Resolve data conflict. Your local conflict. Apparently, I've been playing this somewhere else. Let's use my local data. All right. Collect 10 diamonds. Life swap. Let's do bumpy grind. I can upgrade my taxi, but I don't want to. I like this little one. It's a military assignment. I don't know what that means. We're driving around a town that looks a lot like San Francisco, by the way. It's called Bay City.
Bay City, huh?
That's fun.
Let me guess, the app developer is
boy.
based in San Francisco.
I get to drive a tank.
Cool. Well, this is a crazy taxi indeed.
Here we go. And if you hit a pedestrian, well, why
Can
not?
you shoot him?
You
are in a
know, I
tank.
don't know. That's a good question.
Or it just kind
this
of looks
is fun.
cool. This is
Boom,
something that you
boom,
and you
boom.
know Liz Romero, who I miss terribly around the office.
Yes.
You guys seem like you would really bond.
Watch
over
this. Here we
game.
go.
See.
Whoa! Increase the pace. Do you think she'd like to drive a tank?
I feel like she would love this game.
It's really fun. Crazy Taxi. It's insane.
I love it. Good times. It's made for you. And a very cool soundtrack, too. Very hip.
Yeah, they always had great music.
All the kids love the Crazy
kind of the
Taxi.
fun of it, yeah.
Hey, that's good. So you learned some stuff about the making of the movie.
Gus Van Zant's movie?
What's the one where Matt Damon is the smart kid?
Oh.
Math kid.
Yeah.
What is
It was
that
wicked
movie?
good.
What is that movie? How you like them apples? What's wrong with me?
I know. Well, now it's catchy.
Good Will Hunting.
Will Good Hunting.
Good Will Hunting.
Right. Did you have a stroke? Raise both arms.
I don't want to. I'm okay. I'm okay.
We
I'm
learned
okay.
about Good Will Hunting on this show? Because I don't remember that part.
Didn't he direct Good Will Hunting?
Who?
Gus Van Sant.
No.
Oh.
Did he?
Did he? Didn't he?
No.
Oh, never
Did
mind.
he?
Forget it. Forget it. He directed all sorts of other stuff. Anyway, my point is, Learnist, great app, and then you can go crazy with Crazy Taxi.
I think
which is Leo's app.
the movie they were talking about there in the Learnist thing wasn't Good Will Hunting.
No, that was different.
Yeah.
But I thought that he directed that as well.
I don't know.
Well, whatever. Doesn't matter, does it?
Too bad there's no way to
apps.
find that out.
If only there were some sort of repository of information.
Let's go to the library.
Maybe one day.
They might be a Gus Van Sant biography at the library.
Exactly. We could take an Uber to the library.
Isn't that amazing that even before the internet, where of course we could find this out in seconds, if you went to the library, you had no guarantee that you would be able to find anything that would tell you that.
No.
So what are you going to
do? Your best. Dewey Decimal.
You do your best.
Remember that noise? All right, well, this has been a really fun walk down memory lane. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening to this episode of iPad Today. We adore you, and we will see you here next week. Until then,